Could the Minnesota Vikings be trading up for Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty? Well, we're going to talk about it on today's show because apparently the Vikings are meeting with Ashton Jeanty this week at the NFL Scouting Combine. We'll dive into that, and then in the second half of today's show, we answer your questions. My favorite part of the week, we dive into a mailbag talking about the latest around your Minnesota Vikings. But before we do so, let's think about the team, the border battle team, the Green Bay Packers. And if you guys want the Minnesota Vikings to sweep the Green Bay Packers again, we're already starting it during the offseason. Just give me a skull down below in the comment section. If you guys want the Vikes to sweep the Green Bay Packers yet again, just hit me with a skull down below. All right, so Ryan Fowler tweeting out a bunch about just formal meetings that teams are having with some players at the Scouting Combine, and he said the following teams have formal meetings scheduled with Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty per source: the Giants, the Broncos, Vikings, Steelers, Colts, Bears, Chargers, Ravens, Saints. Giants, I don't think they have a chance to draft Jeanty unless they trade back. Broncos, 100% will consider drafting Jeanty. Steelers, same with them. Don't know if the Colts will. That was a shocker. Bears might take him at 10. Depends on what they do in free agency. Chargers are definitely going to consider it. Ravens, unless they're trying to trade up. And the Saints, I don't know if the Saints would go running back that early in the draft. But in terms of Jeanty, I think the Vikings would need to trade up if they wanted to land the Boise State running back. And I'll just say this. I was thinking about the Vikings in terms of them trading up in the draft because we know we have a lot of limited draft capital. But one advantage we do have is still having that 2026 first-round pick. And all the reports last season were saying the Vikings are going to attach that other first in 26 or obviously this year in 25 to go trade up and land J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, one of these rookie quarterbacks. But they did not have to do that. They were only able to give up a fourth-round pick. So what if that 2026 first is in play to go land a guy like Ashton Jeanty, and maybe that's why the Vikes are meeting with him. But Jeanty this past season, he was the runner-up for the Heisman for a reason. He's got incredible contact balance. Guys just bounce off him. He had 374 carries, and he averaged 7 yards per carry. Ridiculous. But 23 receptions on the year, 138 yards, had 30 total touchdowns. Really one of the best running back seasons we have ever seen in college football. But I do think people don't really view Jeanty as a dual threat back. And I agree with you. I think he's a pure running back. But he does have dual threat ability if he is asked to do so. And I want you guys to look at the 2023 season. He had 43 receptions, almost 600 yards, and 5 touchdowns. There is nothing this guy can't do on the football field. Now, maybe blitz pickup, that's a gripe that you could have with Jeanty, and obviously Travion Henderson, who we've talked about countless times on today's show. That's his bread and butter is the blitz pickup. But in terms of trading for Jeanty, it's an incredibly just risky move because, one, trading up for running backs never really worked. And two, the Vikings just got limited draft capital. And, you know, the third point here is, like, you would have to believe Jeanty is like that McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott-esque prospect where he's coming in the league and he's a top 5 back or a top 10 back. But the only way I consider this is if the Vikings offensive line looks like this after free agency, where you go and you throw Zeitler a bag. Or not a bag. You probably give him a 1 year, $7-8 million deal. You go throw Drew Dahlman a bag. You pay Trey Smith big time money. So you have an elite offensive line. You have elite playmakers. You have that rookie quarterback. And if you go get Ashton Jeanty, the Vikings legitimately would probably be creating some of the best offensive personnel in the entire National Football League. So kind of my final take on this. I think you would have to believe Jeanty will be a top 10 running back from day one to trade up from. Like, there is no doubt about it. You would have to think this guy is going to hit the NFL scene and be one of the best running backs in the National Football League. And I think, honestly, if he would go to the Vikings and that's what our offensive line would look like, he would probably produce like a top 5 running back. But also another reason why I'll be against this is just look at these running backs. It's a loaded class. Like, you could get Amarian Hampton at pick number 24. That would be a home run. Dylan Sampson, he's a burner you could get in day 2. LaQuint Allen, you could get him on day 2. Quinshon Junkins, you could get him on day 2. Or what about 6 and 7 on Kuiper's big board, who are 2 guys who I think, honestly, if I had to rank my running backs, I go Jeanty 1, Caleb Johnson 2, Travion Henderson 3, probably go Hampton 4. But you could potentially land those guys if you trade back from the first round, draft them in the second. Then even you got a guy like Cam Scatteraboo, Trevor Etienne, Devin Neal, my guy in round 3. So, again, you just kind of got to weigh in all these options here. And I think it's a tough decision, but I would probably say no. But what say you on this? Would you trade up for Ashton Jeanty? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. And a thought I just had, I'm saying no to this, but I know myself. If the Vikings traded up for Ashton Jeanty, I would be the happiest guy in the world. I know how I would react. I would be thrilled about it. But you guys let me know. Would you trade up for him? Give me a Y for yes or give me an M for no. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Difficult decision, but it's definitely something I think the Vikings are considering. So you guys let me know your thoughts. All right, mailbag time here on the show. Rundown, starting us off here at the first question, saying Rams, keeping Matthew Stafford. Do the Vikings have chances of a secondary? Rams keeping Matthew Stafford. Do the Vikes have chances of a secondary? Not sure what you're getting at, rundown. The latest reports are actually hearing that the Raiders are going to have a full-on push to land Stafford in Las Vegas. Yeah, but I don't know if Stafford remaining in Los Angeles has any impacts on the Vikes secondary. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but appreciate you for tuning in. Garrett Russborough, what's going on, man? Saying hashtag Vikings, would you trade Andrew Van Ginkel? So I've seen this idea floated out there a lot on social media, Garrett, so I appreciate you. I'm going to say no unless it's for like a high second-round pick. Because Van Ginkel was awesome this past season, one of my favorite Vikings players to ever watch on the defensive side of the field. Van Ginkel, I mean, he had 11 and a half sacks, 2 touchdowns. He was awesome for the Minnesota Vikings. Would you trade him? It would have to be for a high second, but even then, like, this is our Super Bowl window right now. Like, I know it sounds crazy with J.J. McCarthy on a rookie deal, but it's true. This is our Super Bowl window. You don't trade good players for a second-round pick when you're in your Super Bowl window. So, Garrett, I'm going to say no on this, but definitely an interesting topic of conversation. Cole coming in, sending a $20 super chat, part of our live show. Appreciate you. Saying, Pat, I don't know about you, but this is the most stressful offseason I've ever been a part of as a Vikings fan. I mean, with the QB situation going on, O-line, D-line, limited draft capital. I'm 20, and my hair getting grayer every minute. Oh, I'll tell you what, Cole, as a 25-year-old Vikings fan, stressful times are coming your way. I remember all of the older Vikings fans that watch our show. They always get on me being like, dude, don't get your hopes up. This team's going to, end up biting you in the ass at the end of the season. And that's what they did this past year. So all the older Vikings fans, I've already said it countless times. You guys were 100% right. You guys are, skeptical for every right reason. But, yeah, definitely a stressful offseason. Like, if the Vikings had every pick, like a first, a second, a third, fourth, fifth this next season, I don't think it would be as stressful. But you do got a lot of money to spend in free agency. That's going to really dictate where the Vikings go in the NFL draft. But, yeah, no doubt about it, Cole. Appreciate you, though. Corey Miller, what's going on? Saying, do you think we sign any big free agency players, and who do you think we'll sign? Ooh, who do I think we'll sign? I'm going to guess we at least sign, like, one big-name guy, where somebody getting $20+ million per year, whether that's Milton Williams, whether that's Trey Smith. Who do I think we'll sign? I'm going to call it the Vikings sign Drew Dahlman. I think that's going to be the guy they sign. I think they're going to cut Bradbury, and I think they're going to go all in on Drew Dahlman, and then they'll go plug and play at guard, and maybe they try to sign another cornerback or a defensive lineman. But my prediction, Corey, and I appreciate you for sending this super chat, I'll go Drew Dahlman on that one. I'm going to tell you what, if the Vikings do sign Drew Dahlman, he'll be the center of the future for this guy right here, J.J. McCarthy. So if you guys want to get some J.J. McCarthy jerseys, that's the link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Got that link for you guys in the comments and description of today's show. Click it. Go get yourself a number 9 jersey. This will be a jersey you could wear for the next 10 to 15 years. He's going to be the franchise guy. He's going to be a very successful quarterback for the Vikes. If you guys want to go get his jersey, click that link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Abby Skoll, what's going on, Abby? Saying, hashtag Vikings. If Colston Loveland falls to the Vikings at pick 24, would you consider drafting him and then trading T.J. Hockenson? Oh, I love this question, Abby. Shout out to you. I would definitely consider it. I'm not the biggest T.J. Hockenson fan. I would give credit to my dad. He was kind of harping on me when I was excited. The Vikings extended Hawk, and they traded for him, and he was just kind of making the argument like, hey, all these tight ends nowadays are coming out, and they're hitting at an all-time rate, which he's 100% right. Like Brock Bowers, Tucker Kraft, Laporta, the guy on the Bills, Dalton Kincaid, and plus Colston Loveland, J.J. McCarthy would love it. I'll tell you what, you get a tight end on a rookie deal. You could trade Hockenson for maybe a third-round pick. I would consider it 100%. Would the Vikings do it? I don't think so. And also I think Hawk playing – I don't want to say he played bad last year, but he did not play like a top-5 tight end in the National Football League. I think it was still him coming off that torn ACL. So this year he's got a full offseason of rehabbing and just getting his body right. But would I consider it? 110%, Abby. Ben, what's going on? Hashtag Vikings. Who would you pick in the NFL draft if you had 2 picks in the NFL draft this year? So you're saying like 2 first-rounders? If I had to go like realistic guys, if I had like 2 guys to pick at like around pick number 24, let me think. Probably Kenneth Grant, but that's unlikely. TJ Sanders would be a guy for me. Gray Zabel, North Dakota State guy, I would consider drafting him. Tyler Booker, obviously he would be up there. Ashton Jeanty, if he fell to pick 24, I would love that pick. Even though I wouldn't trade up for him, that would be an awesome pick at 24. Travion Henderson, it would be a little rich, but I would be a big fan of it. Caleb Johnson, again, a little rich, but I'd be a fan. But for this one, I'll go TJ Sanders and Kenneth Grant. We'll stick with the defensive line. Roger Bong, what's going on? From a bar team to the best team in the league in resources. Have you ever seen a bigger turnaround in a team from top to bottom? He's talking about the Vikings NFLPA grades where they graded out very, very well. Vikings had a great turnaround, but I think the best turnaround we have ever seen is the Washington Commanders. These guys were a 32nd graded team last season. Already this year with a new ownership, new head coach, they're up to 11. So clearly they've had a big turnaround, but Roger, I appreciate you for sending that $10 super chat. Now, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a skull down below in the comments section. Let me know where all the real ones are at that watch this entire thing. We appreciate you guys. So just hit me with a skull down below. And also I'm on Twitter. @PatSeeps is the Twitter handle. Give me a follow over there if you want more Vikings content on your timeline. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.